Hello everybody, thank you for joining me for your weekend love reading for the weekend of March 6th to March 8th, 2020. Due to my own personal time constraints, I'm only going to be doing a collective reading this weekend, and I was also kind of being guided to do collective reading as well. I did try meditating on the energies of the collective, and Spirit just kind of told me to get into it. There was really no huge epiphanies or messages coming through for the reading, so we're just going to go ahead and jump into it. I hope everybody had a beautiful week. If you haven't seen my collective reading, there's a link down below in my description. There's also going to be a card in the right hand corner. But that said, let's go ahead and get into it. Keep in mind, time and energy are fluid, so the messages can apply to you or another person or vice versa or both. So it just, again, take it resonates if it doesn't. But that said, I'm going to go ahead and take a deep breath, and I do implore you to take a deep breath with me so we may connect deeper with our higher selves and spirit. I hope this video doesn't get taken down. My neighbor is playing music, and I can kind of hear. I couldn't really hear it on the recording when I checked earlier on my through using my microphone. But you know, if like YouTube somehow picks it up and copyright strikes the video and takes it down, like if you see it and then it gets taken down, that's what that would be. Like it's not the music's not really that loud. You know, I mean I can hear it from my window, but it doesn't sound like it's loud enough to come through on my microphone. So that said, we're going to go and get into it. I'm going to be using Golden Dawn Tarot, Dragon Tarot, and then the Animal Messages Tarot this weekend. But as you know, like, sometimes I end up using all 4 decks or like an extra deck. But for now, I'm just going to go with these 2. See what comes out. See what Spirit has for us. Oh, I didn't even do my little prayer. On my call to Spirit to please help myself, the collective, and anyone watching this to hear, see, and know anything we need to hear, see, and know for the weekend of March 6th to March 8th, 2020. And we are on the last legs of Mercury Retrograde. It is almost over, and then we have the retrograde after that, ending on the 17th. And it seems like that's, a lot of the themes coming out for the readings I've been doing have been Mercury Retrograde related, of course. It's been a big change, a lot of changes, not changes, but a lot of facing old emotional things we thought we cleared seems to be what's coming through. So we're going to go ahead and just pull some cards. And if you haven't seen the Mercury Retrograde reading, I'll also link that in the description. And then there will also be a card in the corner. So we're going to see what comes through for you, whoever needs this. It looks like it's pretty interesting so far. Yeah. We do have 10 of Cups at the bottom of the deck. Yeah, Spirit's also telling me to take this Queen of Pentacles. So let me see. The first card that we had out was the Sun. And the Sun's always a great card to have in a reading. I think it's a beautiful card. The Sun can represent new beginnings. Well, that's the Star, I'm sorry, not the Sun. Just as beautiful as a card. I feel like the Star to me represents, being in alignment, trusting your higher self, downloads, personal growth, being led down divine paths that lead you to divine moments. But I find it interesting is, like, to me, it can be like a counterpart situation, like a soulmate situation, given we do have the Queen of Pentacles and the King of Swords. Those are they're of different suits. But they are, like, this would be the masculine energy just because swords are known as masculine energy. Keep in mind this isn't gender specific. The Pentacles, which is earthly energy, which is known as feminine energy, I believe. So seems like we have a masculine and a feminine energy. And I'm kind of getting a story here of the fact that we have Death and the Tower. Some people may see those cards as scary cards, but to me, they really represent just a major shift and a major change and major transformation. Divine, like the Tower, to me, the Tower and Death are very similar cards. And so if you're thinking about it in terms of like the microcosm and the macrocosm, right? Like, they're both trump cards, of course, like universal type energies, but the Tower to me is more so divinely orchestrated events that clear your path and really set you, like, it'll just like have maybe events that appear to be chaotic, and they set you on the path that you were on already, if that makes sense. It's just like path correction type of things. But to me, it doesn't really feel like there's anything wrong with like a detour isn't a detour to me. Like a detour is really just a part of the path you're on. Given we do have free will, there's so many different possibilities. But the fact that we have death with this tower, the death to me is like an inner transformation. And so I'm feeling like right now, I mean, keep in mind, like, just because this is for the weekend doesn't mean it has to apply for the weekend. It can apply to something you experienced last weekend, or it can apply next weekend or a year from now. But we have the King of Swords, so to me it seems like this masculine energy, whoever this is, if you tend to resonate more with the feminine energy, then this can represent a masculine energy dominant person that you were dealing with, again, not gender specific. And so if that's how we're looking at it, there's this sense of this person has undergone a major transformation. As you can see, the universe has kind of put them in this I guess you can say like an incubation type of period. We don't have the hermit energy coming out, but it just feels like a very solitary energy. I know a lot of the energy for the masculine energy we've gotten in the past has kind of embodied that very solitudinous, I don't even know if that's a word. That masculine energy and the feminine energy have really been in this state of solitude. Now, if we're taking it down to the feminine energy down here, we got the Queen of Pentacles and the Ten of Swords. No, that is Cups. Ten of Cups reverse. So the Ten of Cups reverse to me, in this context, it feels like this feminine energy is kind of recognizing what they will and won't put up with in the context of a relationship, given this is a love reading. So the Ten of Cups reversed, well, if it's in the upright, some say, it's the wish fulfillment card. But it can also represent the ending of emotional cycles, the closing out of emotional cycles. Just after that one shuffle, we do have the King of Swords at the bottom of the deck too. I'm going to shuffle a bit more though, 2 more. I really want to delve into this feminine energy and see what's up with that. So I'm going to cut the deck. Trying to do my best with the space here, so let's see. So what's good with the feminine energy? We have the Magician at the bottom of the deck. So that kind of talks about, it essentially just is a reiteration of this Ten of Cups reverse. Feminine energy is recognizing what she will. When I say she, keep in mind it's just because the Queen of Pentacles is, again, not gender specific. But the Queen of Pentacles energy is feeling like this person is recognizing, how they don't want to move forward in a situation. And if this person, and it looks like, given that the King and the Queen are not in reverse, it's telling me that both energies are in good spirits, right? Because I don't know, just like usually, like if you have one of them in reverse, it indicates somebody is really hurt or feeling very hurt. Let's go ahead and clarify all these though. So 10 of Cups reverse, and it's like right next to the King, so what is that? 7 of Wands reverse, Knight of Cups, and the High Priestess. We're going to go and clarify these two. We have the Page of Swords, and then the Wheel of Fortune reverse. So essentially what Spirit is telling me, it's like there's this energy of like the masculine energy wants to come forth, right? The Knight of Cups to me represents somebody who wants to bring a message of love. I know the pages can often indicate the message type of energy, but just the depiction of the knight in this card. They're on their steed, they're they're treading through the waters, processing the emotions, holding their cup of independence, really, and just coming into this state of inner balance that I think a lot of us have been striving for since I've been, coming across these stories throughout these readings I've been doing. Not even just for the YouTube videos, but I mean, I'm on my almost 60th collective reading that I do on Instagram. Like when I post them, I used to post them to my story, but now I post them on my feed. And so it's like a continuation of this story, this story that I think a majority, I am just not able to speak today, excuse me. The majority of us are experiencing in the collective. And given that we do have the Ten of Cups reversed twice, clarifying each of the energies of the masculine and the feminine, it's as if there's like this feeling of being on the same page, right? And we do have the Page of Swords. And so to me, this represents the feminine energy kind of in this space of just enjoying themselves. Given we do have the Wheel of Fortune reverse, I mean, that can indicate like just letting the wheel turn, letting the karmic wheel of justice turn and do its thing. We don't have the Justice card out, so it doesn't feel like a vindictive or vengeful type of energy. It's just kind of like letting bygones be bygones, focusing on themselves, letting things just work out the way they work out, letting the cards fall where they may, so to speak. See, I told you. I knew I was going to be using another deck because I want to clarify a bit more. So I'm going to use the Book of Thoth Tarot. I like using this deck to clarify. See if we have any repeating messages here. I'm actually going to kind of like get a little bit of advice for this masculine energy. You know, because I know for somebody to balance their feminine energy, it is a lot of work. You know, think back to like, if you're a feminine dominant person, think back to a time when you were first getting to the place of really healing your wounded feminine aspects. And think how hard that was at some points, and how there were times where you really didn't know how you were going to make it through. I know many of us didn't even have that guidance. We didn't have anybody to really go to or look to on how to heal the feminine aspects of ourselves in such a way that was particular to our situations, since every situation is really different, honestly. And so it's like, I think that's where the compassion needs to come in, understanding that this masculine energy is very much doing their best as it's been coming through for, you know, the entirety of these continuations we've been getting for this. So we're going to clarify up here. I'm going to do my seam pulls, pull them in the seams, get some in-betweens. We have the Lovers, beautiful. We have, I didn't even touch on the Seven of Wands reverse, but we'll touch on that. We have the Five of Wands reverse, and then the Queen of Swords. So we do have the King and the Queen here up at top. And to me, that doesn't, to me, it doesn't seem like another person. If we're thinking in terms of this masculine energy, the Queen of Swords with the King of Swords, this is them coming into that balance like we've been talking about. This is them, or you if you resonate with this masculine energy. Honestly, I just say them because I personally resonate more with the feminine energy. I mean, I have balanced some within myself, but I've always resonated more with the feminine energies. So it's almost as if this feminine aspect is really coming to fruition, given we do have the Lovers. It is the card of Gemini. It can represent, you know, decisions. It can represent, you know, a divine partnership. But it can also be very similar to what I see the Two of Cups as. And so the Lovers, to me, is a major arcana version of the Two of Cups. And the Two of Cups represents, you know, really coming into that inner union. And if you go into the concept of twin flames, I feel like the whole idea behind twin flames, from my experience and from people that I've talked to, and some of the readers I do enjoy watching for twin flames, there's this kind of new idea that's come about within the past couple of years. I don't know if it's new, but just new to me. And I started integrating that maybe a year or so ago. And so it's this idea that essentially the twin flame journey is to guide us deeper into ourselves and to help us come into a deeper sense of inner union. And so it doesn't always necessarily mean coming into union with somebody else. You know, it can. I'm not saying that's not a part of people's experience, and I'm not saying that it won't ever be part of your experience. But just that seems to be a byproduct of the true nature of the twin flame journey from what I've experienced, and again, from what I've talked to people about. And so since we do have the Lovers here with the Seven of Wands reversed, and so this kind of goes into the idea of both people again being on the same page. The masculine energy is recognizing the value that the feminine has brought into their life, and is not only brought in, like, not only in the physical realms, but in the spiritual realms. Because as you know, like, feminine energy is very ethereal, and it's very just astral in general. I mean, just operating in the sense of, like, if you're thinking about it from like as above, so below, to me this would represent like the feminine being as above, and then the masculine being as so below. Well, messed that up, but it's this kind of idea that the masculine has recognized They are showing appreciation, given we do have the Five of Wands in reverse. There's this understanding of the fact that if they do decide to come forward, you know what I mean, given there is free will and every situation is different, there's this understanding that they don't want to repeat the Ten of Cups reverse, that like both of you are understanding this now and what has led to that. And a lot of the times it's our own internal trauma that leads us to clash with people we love so dearly. So a lot of the times this separation is really necessary to bring us to a deeper sense of balance, allowing us to connect deeper with others. I'm actually going to pull one card for this feminine right here. So it's the Two of Wands. So the Two of Wands can represent a crossroads, it can represent decisions, it can represent balance, anything a two would represent. But it is a card of Aries. And so to me, this essentially feels like it's like these two are mirroring each other. Often when it comes to, soulmate relationships or twin flame relationships, again, take that as it resonates. Everybody's perception of that is different. Everybody's experience of that is different. But I do wholeheartedly believe in the experiences of both. So it feels like while the masculine energy is balancing the feminine energy is balancing their masculine, right? And so it's this kind of like dance of internal union between both people. Whether or not these people come together in the physical realms, I really don't know. That there's so many different factors that go into that. I don't like being like a future reader and saying, oh yeah, this person's gonna come back and it's gonna be like this and you're gonna end up together. It's like I just really don't feel comfortable sitting here and feeding you stuff like that, because it's like, while yes, that is a possibility, there's also a multitude of other possibilities. And I think that's one aspect of this journey that really teaches that. Like it really helps you understand the fact that like there's not just one way of things being. And that's where a lot of the conflict comes in, because it's like the feminine energy oftentimes will recognize, oh, this is like my counterpart or like a soulmate or whatever, and this is the person I want to be with, this and that, before really getting to know them in the physical. There's this aspect of falling in love with somebody's soul before you really get to know their physical being. And I think that creates a lot of conflict, because there comes a point where like you already know like all the high vibe, interactions, and then you start triggering each other, and then you start to see, okay, this person maybe isn't who I thought they were, because you never actually took the time to get to know them. And so I think a reason this separation has led to this is to get you to understand that, and actually has helped you understand yourself better. And it's made you realize that maybe you don't know yourself as well as you thought you did. I'm not trying to do this in the sense of disempowering you. It's more so making you recognize that learning to balance the feminine and masculine aspects within yourself is what helps you come into a deeper sense of understanding of why you do the things you do in relationships, why you say, feel, and perceive certain things in relationships, and how that often reflects our past experiences, past traumas, past relationships, familial trauma, ancestral karma. So many different things that go into that. But I don't know. I mean, that's really all that's coming through. I know some of the readings, these love readings have been getting shorter, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that the messages are just straightforward. Spirit is basically just having us take a step back. Like everybody seems to be in that state, considering what the energies that have been coming across, my own personal experiences, what I've been observing, and people I've talked to. That seems to be an overarching theme, particularly because of this retrograde period. Also because of Pisces season. Saturn is about to move into Aquarius, so it's not a tumultuous time astrologically, but it's just this need to prepare for the times to come. Not in the sense of like, oh, the times are going to be so hard, but more so like you need to make sure you're balanced and in a place of receptivity, so when you do get to the places that you've been wanting to get to, and like I know the last reading we did for the week, it had to do a lot with learning to take a step back, letting things balance out, really making sure that you're in a solid state, so that way you can you can fully embody your true essence. So when you get to where you need to be, you can handle it. Like you can take on the responsibilities that you'll need to take on, and you can do what it is you came here to do, and just really taking it one step at a time, doing it. Oh, okay, that card flew out, so we'll take that one. Give me 1 second, it fell all the way under my desk. Okay. Here it is. So what did come out? The bat. I think did the bat come out for, it was one of the signs last weekend. So the animal message, I like this deck because it really provides a deeper insight into the lessons you may be facing. And so I will decide to read the book today. It says, you have the power to transcend failure and move into a limitless future. And this one is a blue colored one, so bat. So it says, bat once crawled upon the earth, but she reached for the stars and now she really can fly. If you have pulled a bat to guide you, you too can become anything you want, but remember, everything has its own period of gestation, and as you progress to your own limitless future, you must transcend failure and its attendant fear, that of striving again. With failure comes the knowledge that brings you ever nearer your heart's goal until on the destined day you are reborn. So I think it's just, a nice way to close the reading. It's a nice reiteration of the reason behind what you're going through. And I'm not particularly fond of saying, oh, everything happens for a reason, and discrediting the fact that sometimes things just really, really suck and it's not always some deeper meaning. You could always find deeper meaning in it, but I don't like to use that as a cop-out to essentially like relieve yourself of any accountability. Or if you proclaim yourself to be like the karma for somebody, it's like, no, like, you know what I mean? Like, it just feels a little bit wonky to me to sit here and say that. So I think Spirit's advice to you for this weekend, really closing message, is just, although there is no Herman energy coming out, we have the High Priestess in reverse and we have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. And so this is essentially, when the High Priestess is in reverse, to me that indicates that the veil has been lifted, right? And the High Priestess is in the upright. She's like here to present you with lessons, trying to hold your hand and show you the little, like, what's it called? The little, like, clues here and there, and trying to get you to see things deeper. But it's like now you've come to the realization, the High Priestess in reverse means you've come to the realization of the Ten of Cups in reverse. You come to the realization of the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, understanding that things run their own cycle at their own pace, and that a lot of the times when you try to input your own, like when you try to force your will upon the universe, a lot of the times the universe will just laugh in your face and just do what the universe does anyways. It's a cosmic joke. Overall, I think it's a beautiful energy for the weekend. It's a nice, restful energy. It seems to be a continuation of what came out for the weekly reading, the weekly conscious, collective reading, and mostly conscious reading. But, Spirit says to go ahead and pull two more. Close out the reading. I'm going to clarify, just get some advice here. Anything you need to hear or know, closing out this reading. The School Cat Tarot deck. Oops. It was a bad shot. Okay. So anything you need to hear and know, final messages. We have the Fool, which is the cat reverse, but it's the Fool, I believe. And the Queen of Pentacles reverse. This is interesting. Queen of Pentacles has come out twice. One in reverse, one upright. And so to me, this is just saying that because you have grown so much and because you have learned to sharpen your discernment skills, if that makes sense, you're not going to be put in the same situations. And if you do come back together with this person, because you have both transformed so much, the potential for the past to not repeat itself is a lot higher than it was when you were last interacting with this person. So, yeah, I mean, okay, Spirit says one more. I'll take one more. And then I saw the star at the bottom of the deck too. So, Seven of Cups, the star. Essentially just like, don't let your sense of dissatisfaction with somebody cause you to stick around places where you don't feel you should be sticking around. So let's say like this person does come back, and like if we're looking at the other side of the coin, and let's say this person comes back and there's this sense of, or this could even represent somebody you're still talking to. It doesn't necessarily have to be somebody that left. Let's say there's like reminiscent red flags or something that reminds you of stuff you've been through with this person in the past. Understand that it's okay to communicate about that. It's okay to be open. It's okay to let this person know what you are and are not comfortable with. And if there's something that you have to continue to repeat yourself, understand that you don't have to. You can set the boundary and walk away if you need to. But what I think I'm most interested in is the fact that we have the star coming out twice, right? And so it's really just like trusting the divine timing. Honestly, I know that can be a frustrating thing to hear sometimes, especially when you're feeling very impatient, if emotions are running high. But I think right now is a good time again to go within, connect with your higher self, focus on the solitude, focus on balancing your inner masculine and feminine energies. But I mean, other than that, that about sums up the reading. There's not really anything else coming through. So thank you all so much for joining me for this weekend's collective reading from March 6th to the 8th, 2020. My apologies for not doing all the signs. It's easier for me to just do this for the weekend due to my own time constraints. But yeah, if you'd like to book a personal reading, send me an email to jzargoshepard@gmail.com or send me a DM on Instagram. You can find the details in the description, along with other videos that I have out. But yeah, that concludes the reading. I love you all so much. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you in the next reading. Bye.